Going over to the Culture Bar podcast, you have an Apalachee High School shootings during gun debate, and you have a heartbreaking story of a hero teacher, which is it's always good when you see some of the good in humanity. I like to tell people if you look at the glass, it's usually half full, depending on your perspective. But you squint hard enough in life, you tend to find the good, and you got a nice, powerful story here. Very unfortunate. Obviously, it's a fluid situation. It's more developing coming out, but it appears as if someone coming to school caused massive havoc. In this particular case, I believe, again, it might be a fluid situation. Teachers were not allowed to carry, but apparently it was subsequently ended by an on-school, I believe it's a staff, not staff sergeant, I apologize, a on-school police resource ending the life of the perpetrator. Now, this is a 14-year-old girl who described how brave her teacher was and how he actually guarded her with his life. Without too much further ado.
I started running. He started shooting like 10 times. He shot at least 10 times, and then I ran to the back of the classroom. I dived behind the desk, and my teacher had got in front of me like he was guarding. But like the gunshots were so close to me, like my ears started ringing real bad. Like the whole classroom was smoking, like and everything. And then I got when he finally got out of the classroom, my teacher started barricading the door with desks and bookshelves and all that, and then I had got up. When I had got up, I had saw one of my classmates on the ground bleeding so bad, and then when I had moved myself to the other side of the room because the bookshelf I was hiding behind, it was right in front of the door, so I had moved to the other side, to like this side with my friend. I was checking on my other friend because he got grazed in his leg. And then there was a white girl that was in front of me. She got shot in her leg and stuff. And then my other friend got shot in her stomach. And it was just so sad, stuff like that.
Are you okay?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a lot to process. And you're so young. You're how old?
14.
That's so much to have to process in class where you're supposed to feel safe.
Yeah.
How are you doing now? I mean, what's going through your mind?
Like, it just keep replaying back in my head. I just thank God that I wasn't the one that got hit, you know. Like, in the midst of all of it happening, I was just thanking God because, you know, he had his hands around me and stuff like that. Because I could have been the one that got hit because I was right there. He could have.
That teacher definitely is the definition of stepping up to the plate, going above and beyond. I was very proud. Got 4.2 million views as well as 51,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, God bless the teacher, getting 2.7 thousand likes. You have Paul Zupa saying, beautiful statement, bring peace with God in a moment like this is everything, getting 365 likes. Very interesting profile name. The bitch is back. Very unique. It says, quote, too bad his hands weren't wrapped around a gun. And it says, best quote ever. And it says, picture of looks like a former Marine, Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Cooper, saying, quote, if violent crime is to be curbed, it is only the intended victim who can do it. The felon does not fear the police. He fears neither the judge nor the jury. Therefore, what he must be taught is to fear his victim. True. That got 301 likes. Here. Rick Suit says, quote, get every counselor in 50-mile radius at the school stat. They're going to need help. Group gained 802 likes. Salty Goat says, quote, gotta love teachers that will put themselves in harm's way. Had those teachers been armed, none of this might have happened at all. Group getting 622 likes. Florida 1 says, this teacher is a hell of a man. God bless him. 2 teachers were killed today. Pray for their families. Getting 846 likes. Orwell's handmaid says, quote, praise God, he had his hands around me. Yes, precious child, he did. Amen. Getting 601 likes. Or sorry, 11 likes. Going down more and more. Redway Press says, good people still exist. Getting 93. Let's make it 94 likes. Going down more and more. I mean, there's not going to be too many contrarian statements in this thread, I don't believe. Now, again, the big controversy is that, of course, as soon as this happened, every left-leaning Democrat on social media said we need to take away everyone's guns, and this is God blame the NRA, which, not to diss the NRA, but they become less and less culturally and politically relevant throughout the years as they've abandoned. Again, I respect the NRA in this fact that they do some safety trainings for folks, which again, safety is important. I think we should also go back to the good old days where schools actually taught gun safety, because again, there are children who die in the United States because of improper handling of firearms, and they come across and they don't know what to do. But yeah, I think every child should be taught the 4 rules of gun safety, and they should be taught, hey, if you see that, if you're at home, you see a gun handed out, again, you gotta make sure your parents are responsible as well. Just don't touch it. You tell an adult. And yeah, there's a lot of preventable deaths in that regard, and yet it's very frustrating that the federal government, again, they dictate a lot of school curriculum. There's a reason they no longer have a lot of things like archery or shooting, extracurricular shooting like trap shooting teams in a lot of these public schools, and it's one of those instances where there's a lot of preventable deaths where safety could come into account. That's where I think the NRA does some good, and they've gained a little bit of gun rights throughout the years, but they're almost becoming a scapegoat in terms of everyone just blames them every time there's something bad that happens, which is just ridiculous. And they'll blame everyone except the actual individual who did these evil things, which I'm not going to glorify the SOBs by using the name. But yeah, it's one of those instances where they're all calling for guns to be taken away. No one needs these dangerous things, and yet these are the same. I always debate if they're morally vacuous or just stupid, or more mentally vacuous, or both. Because again, many times these happen in gun-free zones. Over 90% of the time, mass shootings happen in gun-free zones, which, again, those things are a cruel joke. It's not a gun-free zone. It's just a gun-free zone for good guys where you're disarming them. And I'm actually surprised there's not more lawsuits in terms of, there's your God-given right in the Bill of Rights, and when you're a teacher, you're a government employee, they take away your right when you cross that threshold of the schools. Again, some schools do allow teachers to carry, and I can't help but think that'd be one of the best. That would actually be the best way to prevent something like this. As well as, famously, there are a couple of schools, when there was a tragedy a couple of years ago, they actually posted a sign on the front school had the front school has their signage, and under it they'll have a couple of letters you swap out like McDonald's sign to let people know updates. They said like 6 of our teachers, 6 of our teachers are carrying Glock 45s. Guess which ones? Pretty compelling reason not to go after that school. And bad guys might be evil. They are not necessarily stupid. They're going after what we call soft targets because they know there's going to be little to no resistance, so they know they can do a maximum amount of evil. And it's ridiculous this become a political issue, and so many people want to debate on the inanimate object as a core reason this is happening. Again, why back the clock a couple years, you had guns in schools everywhere. They had gun racks when kids would go to schools. So that's why I always say this is a big culture thing, as well as it is a law thing in terms of disarming teachers to go to the schools. But yeah, unfortunately, it's become a kind of a political thing to push everyone and divide folks in the United States, and it is a tragedy. I hope that everyone who is, in terms of the people who are injured, I hope they get a speedy recovery. And silver line, a lot of people can say it's a low bar, but I still think, thank God, it's not worse. Because again, it could always be worse. I know it's sometimes people don't like that parameter or that measurement, but yeah, it's a heartbreaking situation. Hopefully, maybe we'll come together to actually find a way to stop these things. I'm pretty pessimistic in terms of the unification of the country when it comes to these issues. But let me know in the comments, what do you think is the most effective methodology? With the exception of evil people who just want to use these events for propaganda to disarm Americans, I think a majority of Americans want the same. They see the same problem as in terms of young people having their lives taken away prematurely. So if we can agree on having the same problem, we agree on the outcome we all want, a majority of us want, is less people passing prematurely from these evil perpetrators. I would hope that we can come together and think of a methodology that would be, or we just examine the data and historically look at the methodologies that are most effective to fix these issues. But these guys are pretty pessimistic if there's really anything that could unify our country, or a culture in the country. But let me know. What are your thoughts on the most effective methodology to stop these evil things from happening? And do you think those methodologies will be rolled out on a national level in the United States? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.